Welcome back to my channel, my friend, and if you're new here, my name is Matt Schifferly, and today we are looking at the 3 tenets of my grind style strength training methodology that make your workouts more effective, safer, and easier on your mind, body, and lifestyle. So tenet number 1, don't worry about how hard you're working. It's not about how much you can drive yourself into the ground. Instead, the focus of each workout you do should be, instead of how hard can I work, to how much of an effective stimulus can I produce. And this does 2 things. The first of which is, when you know the type of stimulus you're trying to produce in your workouts, you weed out all of the fluff and nonsense and filler of exercises and reps and sets and programming that really doesn't do you a whole heck of a lot of good, and you can focus on that small margin of activities that's going to directly get you what you want. And 2 is, it gets you out of that whole treadmill hustle culture aspect of fitness, which a lot of us fall into, and I certainly did for years, where if you don't know what stimulus you're trying to create, aka you don't know what you're doing, the default modus operandi becomes, I'm just going to work as hard as I possibly can, or push myself as much as I possibly can. And that's detrimental several ways. The first of which is, you're just basically driving yourself into the ground, which can compromise the integrity of the amount of stress on mind, body, and lifestyle. But it can even compromise that very stimulus itself, because hard work is certainly important for creating that stimulus, but it's also, to some degree, a liability, because you're only going to get so much through the efforts you're putting into. And after a certain degree, it's a diminishing rate of return. So you put in exponentially higher levels of effort for less and less results. And eventually it can even get to the point where you're compromising that stimulus. So you just put in more effort for worse results than you would have if you were ending sooner. I'll put a link at the end of this video, or down below in the description, as well as the 3 fundamental stimuli that you want to be mindful of, whether you want to build muscle, improve your proficiency and build strength, or burning fat and calories. Tenet number 2, and this one goes really against a lot of the ways that we approach strength training, a lot of people, especially in the calisthenics world, which is use inefficient techniques. Inefficient techniques are basically doing things the hard way. Bigger range of motion, pausing at the top and the bottom, using, sometimes it's a faster tempo, sometimes it's a slower tempo, using narrower base of support. Like, I never do push-ups like this anymore. I'm always here or here. Why? Because it's a lot harder that way. But a lot of times we don't like doing this, because when we use inefficient techniques, it drops our metrics like a stone. You're not going to get nearly as many reps. You're not going to be able to lift nearly as much weight. And if your objective of success is to have a high metric, to win a game or sport or contest or pass a PT test, then by all means, you absolutely do want to use more efficient techniques. But we're not in that game. If we're in the game of, I want my body to change, I want to create a stimulus that makes my body adapt in certain ways, we want to make that as easy as possible, which means making the exercise harder. So utilizing inefficient techniques that drop your metrics are usually the better way to go, because it's just an easier way to create that stimulus for better results. And it's also usually a lot easier on your joints and your nervous system and your recovery, because you're not overloading yourself with excessive volume or resistance. And then finally, the 3rd tenet is employ some degree of an adaptive approach to your workouts. Basically what this means is change things as you see fit to accommodate your circumstances. Some days you're better off using a lot more resistance and maybe more volume. Other days you may be a little behind the 8 ball and you're like, I'm not going to do nearly as much today. I'm going to back off the volume. I'm going to use less resistance. Or you could switch up, like, these back squats are not feeling very good on my knees today. I'm going to do Bulgarian split squats or leg press instead. When you allow yourself this adaptation, one, it allows you to back off so you're not overstressing your joints and your mind, body, and lifestyle, so it makes it safer and easier on your systems. But 2, it also gives you the permission to really blast up when you have those opportunities. So if you're going for a run and you're like, I feel amazing today, I'm going to run further than my customary 3 miles, go for it. Or if you're lifting a certain weight and you're like, I'm just feeling great today, I'm going to put on another 20 pounds, awesome. So you have the ability to excel when you can, but also you back off a little bit when it's more prudent and safer and more efficient to do so. So check out these videos here. This one's about the 3 fundamental stimuli that I was talking about earlier. And this is the latest video that I posted on how I apply the grind style approach to classic gym style weightlifting type practices for a back and biceps workout. If you like this sort of thing, do the likes, the shares, and all the buttons and stuff down below. Sincerely appreciate you watching to this point if you made it this far. And thank you very much as always. Be fit and live free.